Hello, my name is Jordan Elizabeth Fisher and I'm running for Seattle City Council, position 8. If you have 10 minutes, I'd like to go into a little detail of my campaign that I see shaping our city to become a place that is transparent, equitable, and well-funded. My first focus would impact every single sector and industry that is transitioning our city government onto the blockchain. I'll go through what that means in a quick moment. My second proposal is to use the vast savings to fund social programs, upgrade our technology, and my final focus would be giving the community more of a voice. Simply speaking, blockchain technology is one of the most revolutionary things to come to planet Earth, in my opinion. Blockchain is a database accessible from any platform and uses a type of encryption to safeguard your identity or documents without jeopardizing your privacy. Additionally, a key point to blockchain is that you can program it. This feature has the capability to audit and measure the efficiency of whatever is integrated with machine learning and AI technology. Finally, residents would be able to interact with their government and hold elected officials accountable to their campaign promises. I took the initiative to sit down with a developer currently working on this project to identify approximate savings, costs, and really understand the pros and cons of what this technology could bring to the city of Seattle. I discovered that it could be implemented and ready to go within a couple months, inexpensive, and would have a profound savings that these leaders have already demonstrated in other cities of approximately 20%, which would be roughly $1.3 billion of our budget for Seattle. That being said, I would direct these funds towards vulnerable communities who need it: education, social services, technology, transportation, infrastructure, and other necessary improvements. My opinion is that Seattle would probably save much more due to the AI and machine learning interface, which would audit the effectiveness of how our tax dollars are being spent. Okay, so let's start with transportation. So with blockchain technology, our transportation system would greatly improve and would be able to measure the most effective transit routes, switch a stoplight on or off if a road is closed due to construction. It would be able to analyze the flow of traffic. The savings alone would, in this one area, allow us to subsidize public transportation and allows every community member more access. Another really cool application for employees and workers, they would finally have a private platform in which they could upload pictures, video evidence of employers being abusive, engaging in misconduct, harsh working conditions, sexual harassment, and such videos would automatically be sent to union reps and other entities that ensure workers' rights. Most importantly, they would have a way to interact with these safeguards without the fear of jeopardizing their jobs until a legitimate legal claim could be made. Who loves the DMV? So blockchain would also streamline these processes of obtaining and getting access to vital records like your birth certificate, state ID, vaccination records, licensing, titles, deeds, payroll, and would all be associated with your unique blockchain ID and could be accessible through your portal. Apple Inc. is already kind of in the process of doing this. In addition, it would completely ensure the integrity of an e-signature, which we've all gotten used to over quarantine. Our homeless population is getting out of control, and the way we are treating this very vulnerable demographic of the community is unjust. Seattle is losing 15 to 20 people a month from suicide, exposure, addiction. The infrastructure in which nonprofits are built on are ineffective. Nonprofits operate more so as a business than providing real tangible results. There are a lot of ineffective nonprofits that exploit funding from state and federal authorities. The blockchain would be able to audit where every single dollar they spend goes and ensure that people are getting the aid that they need. In addition, the federal government did something really cool where they partnered with Uber and Lyft to ensure that people had access to transportation in order to get them to vaccination stations. Utilizing that same concept until we could create one ourselves, we could potentially partner with companies like Airbnb or VRBO and house well-vetted homeless individuals. There is a lot of misinformation regarding the demographic of homeless people and who they are. Did you know that 50% of them you don't even see because they live in their cars? They're not all drug addicts. They're not all suffering from mental illness. And they are definitely not lazy. Being homeless takes a lot of work, especially when resources are so spread out. So let's house this demographic and provide a more healing approach and focus our services on those with more complex issues. There are a couple things that prolong homelessness, such as the bureaucracy, the delayed access to aid, spread out resources, stagnant wages. I could go on. Some reasons of why people may choose to remain on the street compared to utilizing sheltered services stem from a variety of reasons, including safety, shelter availability, evangelical ideologies that try to indoctrinate people. The resources listed on our city website are very lacking and ineffective. We need to pull together all nonprofits, centralize resources of aid in order to prepare for the crisis that's coming. Additionally, I want to promote more programs that come from a place of healing and not shame. Promoting a housing first option that integrates them back with the community versus segregating them into Section 8 housing is one approach. These are human beings that deserve to have a place to live. This is a crisis, and we need to actually treat it as such. You saw how the state government mobilized themselves and educated the public during coronavirus. I don't see the same level of response or effort being done with the homeless situation or the addiction crisis. This is because of a lot of red tape, and most importantly, the belief that they deserve to be homeless that has been indoctrinated into our legislation and society. I want to be very clear. Homelessness is a product of the society that we built, and they deserve a voice. It's kind of hard to vote without an address, right? Addiction has been labeled as a crisis, as I mentioned earlier, and legalization of plant medicine is extremely effective in combating addiction. Let's take Ibogaine, for example. Ibogaine has been scientifically proven to cure addiction with a success rate of about 50% to 80%. Legalizing plant medicine and constructing places of healing for individuals to go is important. AA programs may work for some, but we should expand new effective programs to fit the needs of every demographic. Their model is based off the community. Many of these nonprofits and programs ingrained into our legal system that work with addicts are rooted in evangelical beliefs and promote environments of shame. We need to fund and focus on addiction treatments that come from a place of healing. Lack of affordable housing is why we have a homeless population as large as we do. My career in real estate gave me some fantastic insight into how to provide affordable housing to our community. A huge reason why federally insured loans only allow a maximum of 4 people is due to a deficiency in their technology, not policy. Blockchain would fix this. Fractionalizing the equity of housing, similar to buying a stock on Robinhood, would allow many renters to build their equity, wealth, and obtain access to home ownership. Rezoning districts into co-ops would incentivize new construction to get a little more creative and affordable. This would not only subsidize housing, it would bring together communities and allow people from all social classes to coexist with each other versus being marginalized and oppressed in poverty and specific area codes. In addition, I would like to bring an official tenants union that's interactive with the public. The credit report is a borderline scam in my opinion and didn't even exist until 1980s. There are plenty of efficient ways to demonstrate repayment or credit worthiness of someone other than a credit report. In mortgage lending, we would analyze the spending in bank statements, debt-to-income ratios, have you paid your Comcast bill on time? Credit has disproportionately harmed many communities of color. And let's not forget that housing is a basic survival need and is a human right. I also think that there are some really unique ways that we could offer affordable housing in new construction, and that would be investing in hemp manufacturing, investing in 3D printed homes, tiny homes, and modular housing. Tokenizing and fractionalizing the housing process would take a lot of money away from the banks and build wealth for those who opt in. Finally, I'd also like to expand the down payment assistance program to renters and give it a facelift. The technology is from the 80s, giving renters a centralized place to access information, resources, tenant union benefits, and educate them on their rights would be a great way to do this. Trump did do a good thing in which he legalized hemp federally. Yes, it's more expensive right now, but I think investing in manufacturing would have huge environmental impact for our community, especially if we're trying to get to carbon neutral by 2030. Couple points. Hemp can be grown in practically any environment in just 4 months of maturity versus a tree that takes 20 to 80 years. It also absorbs roughly 10 tons of carbon dioxide per acre. Hemp can replace plastic, paper, bags, straws, bottles, mail. I'm sure that you know that our food has become degraded nutritionally. Hemp revitalizes the soil to retain pertinent vitamins and minerals. Hempcrete could be used in construction and is durable, fireproof, waterproof, mold, mildew, fungus resistant to insects, holds up better than traditional infrastructure to natural disasters, earthquakes. With an investment in manufacturing, the cost to build a home could significantly be reduced. Blockchain can do some pretty unique things in energy management. I'm sure you're aware that it's been a centralized industry for a long time. Energy producers and users cannot buy directly from each other and have to go to a public grid or trusted private intermediary. Blockchain would also allow customers to buy and sell energy from each other, and a peer-to-peer way you could program it to run itself. In addition, it would also be able to audit the amount of carbon output of our communities. Now, I have a very big opinion about police reform and accountability. I completely respect the individual who is a police officer. They are a part of our community as much as anyone else. I did have a wake-up call last year to the fact that I was living in a police state that criminalizes and perpetuates poverty. Here's the thing, when I drive perfectly, and I'm not saying I'm a perfect driver, and a cop gets behind me, I get tense, I slow down. That's a trauma response. That is not a society that I want to live in. I want to live in a society where police officers do not criminalize poverty or perpetuate it with tickets, homeless sweeps, criminal records for drug charges. I want to live in a community where victimless crimes, especially crimes of poverty, are settled in civil court, not a criminal one, whose methods align with providing resources, regenerating and reforming the individual, not shaming them and enslaving them. We shouldn't be traumatizing them and forcing them into our jails and prison systems, which are simply institutions of modern-day slavery. Think of how this on your permanent record inhibits somebody from accessing resources, housing, a career, or even makes them want to reform. Until we have true accountability on the federal level, there are quite a few things I'd like to work with the police union with, including finding a uniform that makes them into an individual versus an army. An IQ test, a public interface using blockchain that can bring transparency to this sector of public safety is also available. And, although I am an abolitionist because of blockchain, that doesn't mean I want to abolish all police. But the community should be deciding how they want to be held accountable for their actions, and not those who have demonstrated plenty of abuses of power and corruption. With blockchain, there are a few different applications of this. Body cam footage would be uploaded to the blockchain. There would be no way that they would be able to alter or delete it accidentally. Citizens would be able to upload video recordings, log complaints that would be sent to the ACLU or other political coalitions or the police union themselves. That may have something to say. All officers and their records should be easily accessible to the public, in which they can interact anonymously through the blockchain. Every major industry has this. A mortgage lender, a real estate agent, a doctor, a lawyer, they all have to get licensed. They have safeguards. The police do not. Being a mortgage lender, I know what type of income every single job produces. Social workers, mental health professionals, EMTs need a raise. I've sat down and talked to police officers who said that they take on too much responsibility and are the only people that are called for every type of instance. Incorporating new systems of reform are imperative to a society centered on healing. Finally, this is the most important aspect of blockchain. The first step is getting organized and getting people engaged, because we're running out of time. As we get organized, we get more powerful. With blockchain, we would be able to have a huge amount of control over our legislative practices. We'd be able to repeal red tape that was put there by lobbyists, corrupt backdoor deals, and greed. How I propose to do this would be integrating a voting system, or pulse, in which each Seattle resident could be assigned a wallet or an equal distribution of tokens or coins that gives residents the option to cast a vote on how grants are allocated, similar to like GoFundMe, city projects, elections, small business ventures, property development. how charities get funded. Blockchain allows for accountability and impact to be already programmed in. I just also wanted to point out that our state government lost $600 million in unemployment because of fraud. Fraud does not exist on the blockchain. Our elections would have integrity. People could provide feedback, fresh ideas, suggestions from people who want to contribute. Watch a short video and submit a suggestion and get a free perk from the city. Would be a great way to incentivize more public engagement. Seattle is one of the smartest, most capable, honest, and caring communities that I've ever lived in. Based on our vaccination rate, I think it's time we put more trust in our citizens versus putting the entire responsibility on a few individuals. Finally, despite your opinions about whether you liked CHOP or whether you didn't, it had amazing art, amazing expression. I really want to create an official memorial for all the people that died and for the people that we honor, like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain, just to name a few. Seattle really adopted a lot of furry companions. I would love more dog parks. I don't even think we have a space where we are free to do art, to paint, to express ourselves, read poetry, sing, without needing money, a permit, or a protest. That being said, I'd really like to create and design a zone for people who want to express themselves in any manner they see fit. I'd really love the opportunity to work with the city of Seattle and create a beautiful future. Please elect me to position 8 and follow me on social media at Vision of Seattle. I'm on all platforms, and I'll be posting more content. If you'd like to support my campaign by donating or downloading one of my posters and hanging it, please visit my website, visionofseattle.com. Thank you.
This ad is paid for and sponsored by Jordan Elizabeth Fisher.